Mita can no longer go back to her old life as she was introduced to the American culture. She feared what her family would think of her, but she blocked that fear as she knew United States was the place for her because of the option of more individuality. And for her, someone who was told what to wear, who to marry, how not to act, and etc., the value to be able to express herself in many ways made her to not glance back at India and look forward to her new lifestyle. Everywhere I see bliss, from which I alone am irrevocably excluded. Frankenstein's creature was rejected from society not because of his evil actions, but first because of his hideous and monstrous physicality, something he cannot control. They reject him as a person when they don't see him as normal, which brings up my point of view of the quote. Many are criticized and ridiculed for not fitting into the social norms, but what we fail to realize is that they are no different than the other, because of what we all carry within us, humanity. We fail to realize that we are all just one tiny speck of the whole picture, explaining the picture. Here, the author uses Jack and his emotions of killing a pig to argue his point that in a place without society, humans turn into their primitive ways. The author explores Jack's exhilaration with connecting it to feelings of power and superiority while killing the pig. Therefore, the reader can infer that Jack did not kill the pig for the well-being of the group, but subconsciously, due to the satisfaction it provides his primal instincts, which ultimately lead to savage behavior and destructiveness. This is a turning point in the boy's decline to full-on rogue and savage, therefore explaining the picture from going to light, pure, and good, turning into dark, evil, and savage. Here, John realizes that the Count is not human. He fears it because it's something he has never seen before, but instead of running away, he and the group stood their ground against evil and fear and did not let it spread. Fear limits us in many ways and is our own worst enemy. In the picture, each step represents fear, and it shows how if you overcome that fear or step, you move on to the next one, while at the same time moving forward, making you a stronger person. Here, what the poet is trying to get at is sometimes society tells us what to do to seem normal, such as seeing a snake and having to kill it. The narrator did not want to, he was intrigued by the snake, but he conformed to follow social norms, therefore threw the snake a log, but instantly regretted it. This shows how sometimes we go against our true feelings just to be inside the social norms. But it shows how that is not a way to live, as the narrator felt guilty and was regretful. After having been surrounded by dead corpses, the narrator tells us of how he saw the slimy snake, and whereas he used to have disgust for it, looked at it and felt joy of the creature being there with him. I believe what the poet is trying to convey is that many times we go around not thinking about animals and we forget that they are living as well. We forget that we are animals too, slightly more evolved, slightly more adaptable, but all the same still just animals. Therefore, we should feel compassion towards the animal kingdom when ultimately it is our impact, human impact, that is altering their environment. We are the catalyst for their demise. The author uses a perfect example, appealing to our sense of sound. Mozart is arguably one of the most renowned artists and has contributed to, if not defined, the genre of classical music. Gunfire, on the other hand, is primarily seen as an act of war and death, evil. The author compares these two in an evil-less robot. How can the robot notice the difference between gunfire and Mozart when it does not know what evil is? Therefore, if there is gunfire outside, since it does not know evil, it will not be inclined to stop and rather speculate the killing of living souls. Hence is why evil comes with good, because you can't have one without the other.